A year ago today, New York State legalized cannabis for adults over the age of 21. I would say the coalition's everything. You know, we really did a lot of hard work of pulling people to the table. And then once they got there, we got them to agree to some certain key principles and use that to drive the campaign across the finish line. I think the first thing is recognizing that, you know, before we move forward, before we legalize, before we end prohibition, we've got to make sure we're dealing with the consequences of the harm that's been caused. In our New York story, that meant clearing quite a bit of arrests and convictions that were made, mostly in communities of color across the state. The second one was a commitment that whatever we did moving forward, the industry that we built would be diverse and inclusive. And so there are several provisions throughout the legislation as woven into really the market architecture to ensure that there was space for people to come in and meaningfully participate. And the third and the final principle, which is really kind of the hardest to keep whole, was the guarantee that whatever resources were created from legalization were reinvested back into communities that have been most impacted. The split that came over in the final legislation was that 40% of the money would go to support public education and the work that's done to educate the young people here in the state of New York. 20% is going to drug treatment and prevention programs to support the work that's being done to, you know, help fight back the opioid crisis that's ongoing here in the state. And then 40% is going to what we call a community grants reinvestment fund. Now, this fund that we created really is dedicated to that first part, repairing the harm. You know, it's dedicated to job training, services, reentry programs, continuing adult education programs, just making sure that folks have all the resources they need to be successful.